Hi there guys, Stean Reviews back again, and today I'm here with a video that I may be cutting into a couple of parts. These are going to be the films that remind me of my childhood. Now I'm going to leave my Blu-rays, they're going to be in the second part of this video, and I'll focus on just the DVDs since there are a lot more DVDs than there's Blu-rays. So I thought I'd jump in and show you some of the films that kind of remind me of my childhood, give some reasons on why, so here we go. First film I have just came to me as Baby Genius. Now this is a film that gets a lot of hatred, and I understand why. This film is terrible. It's got Christopher Lloyd in it. It's got talking babies, but it's just people with, you can tell it's people with babies, like faces CGI'd on them, and it's really bad CGI. But I remember watching this film growing up, and I remember loving the film so much that I watched it constantly. I watched it every time it was on TV. It was always on Channel 5. That one in the during the day, it was always Baby Genius 1 or Baby Genius 2. Every at least once a month, there was one or the other on, and I'd usually watch them because how much they were just great films. And I remember watching them, and they were fantastic. Nowadays, rewatch them, bought it again, rewatched it, and I realised how bad it is. And yeah, but it's just one of those films I really loved growing up, so it's okay. It's just been there since then. Another one is completely different from Baby Genius. This is a film called Blood In, Blood Out. Now this is a film about Mexican gangs. You may remember me talking about this in my gangster movies to watch. This film reminds me of childhood because I remember getting out a video van years and years ago. We had a video van round we used to come around the local schemes from one of the local video shops, and he had a van full of like some older films that weren't like selling in the shop anymore. So films that most people weren't renting. Chucked in the van, and a lot of people went to the van because it came round, then have to go down to town, and you could just give it back to them in the van for the same amount of money as it was down the street. So you done it anyway, and this is one of them in it, and it was a great film, and I remember watching it many times with my dad. Me and my dad got this out constantly and watched it at least once a month. We watched it that much that when the video van closed down, he actually, the guy, because he stayed just up the road from us, actually came and offered us to buy the video, but at that point the video was quite dear, so we couldn't afford it, so we didn't get it, but we ended up getting it. Me and my dad now own it separately on DVD because it's a great film. Another film that reminds me, this is another film that reminds me of my dad, is Harry and the Hendersons. This is another film I remember watching with my dad. My dad loved this film. My dad found this film so funny, and the humour is kind of grew on top of me. His humour is the same as my humour most of the time, and I kind of love this film. It's one of those films I've loved for ages. Ended up picking up for £3 at Asda once, and a couple of films here actually I picked up at Asda for £3, but this is one of them, and I kind of love this film. It's just a funny film about, you know, so that's what happens if you discuss watching the house. It kind of gives me that childhood feel. A film that reminds me of Christmas time is Jack Frost. This is my Christmas kids film I love. A couple here actually from my Christmas kids films. This is one of them. This is a film I watch still to this day. This is another one I picked up for £3 at Asda. Another film I love. I've watched so many times, and it's just one of those films that I can't not watch every Christmas. A film I have to watch every Christmas now, and yeah, it's fantastic. Plus, well, you get Michael Keaton as a snowman. You get Batman being a snowman. So yeah, fantastic. I loved that film growing up, and I still cry at the end of it. A film that reminds me of Halloween as a kid is Hocus Pocus. Now, this is a film I actually haven't watched in a couple of Halloweens now. I actually bought it. I think I bought it, watched it once, and haven't watched it again. But it's just because it's kind of really is kiddie. It kind of is a Disney film. It's kind of is kiddie. I just haven't got into giving it a try yet. Give it another watch in years to come. But it's actually, fun enough, it's got Sarah Michelle Gellar in it. It's got quite a few people in it who are quite big names nowadays, but back in the day wasn't big, but wasn't really big back when this film came out. There's another film I love. It's a film that kind of reminds me of my childhood and watching it with my sister. Which a couple of these films remind me of my family. That's why they're kids. That's why they're my films that remind me of my childhood. Biker Boys is another one. This is a film that came out in the 2000s. Actually, the 2002 it came out. It's another film that I don't even remember how we found the film. To be honest with you, it just kind of became a film we just watched and just liked, and I don't remember how it appeared, but I've just remembered watching it since I was a kid, and I remember loving the film so much that I ended up buying it and watched it constantly. We ended up actually remember having it in pirate DVD years and years ago, and I remember still watching it as pirate DVD, and then ended up buying my own version years later, and still love that film. Another film that I watched constantly as a kid, I mean a kid when I was really young, I remember watching this film. I still to this day remember watching it as a kid and loving it and laughing like crazy. And I mean, like, I was maybe 5 when I watched this film, like 5 and 6, and then never watched it again for years later, and then watched it again. I had it in video, it was a big yellow videotape. That's all I remember with the cover, and it's Baby's Day Out. This film is fantastic, and the funny thing about this film is it's actually written by John Hughes. You know, the guy who done Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Some of my favourite coming-of-age films are written by the same man that wrote one of my favourite films I've grown up. I remember loving this film growing up. This film had to be put on for me. So this film and another film that we'll get to was a film that had to be put on for me. I had to watch this film every single time. I love this film so much, and I watched it recently. It doesn't really hold up. The graphics ain't great. The effects in it are really bad. The baby crawling about just doesn't look too great. But really, it's still a good watch. That's the only bad thing about it. Next up is another film that we thought I agreed to put on when I was younger. It's another film I had to watch. I would watch this usually during the day and that would be night time, or vice versa. And this is a film my sister hates me for. This is Power Rangers. Now I have the videotape out, and I also have it in DVD. The videotape doesn't work anymore. Unfortunately, it got 30 years and years ago because it's really old, overplayed. But this, I ended up picking this up actually out as again for £3, and both the films on it. There's Power Rangers, the movie with Ivan Ooze, and there's Turbo. Both of them remind me of my childhood for separate reasons. Power Rangers the movie reminds me of my childhood because I watched it so many times and loved it. Turbo I watched, wasn't a big fan of. It was okay, it was a good watch. I didn't mind it because Power Rangers, it taught me in it. But I remember it more of my childhood because I ended up giving it to my cousin Alenov because he was just young. He was a couple of years younger than me. I gave him it, and I never got it back. And it kind of destroyed me as a kid. I kind of got really upset about that as a kid. But now as I get older, I'm like, well, it was Turbo, it was a terrible film. Anyway, it wasn't Power Rangers, and I ended up getting a DVD, and I'm actually still watch Power Rangers now and again. Yeah, so let's move on before anyone notices what I said. So another one is Joe Dirt. This is another film that came from Video Van, actually. This is another film that I remember watching Video Van for many times. And it's just one of those films that I remember watching with my dad, and we loved it, and we thought it was funny. It had quite like hot rock elements to it, rock jokes, so my dad really liked it, so I really liked it, and we watched it quite a few times. It's another one we got offered, and another film we really liked. And yeah, it's a funny one. They're bringing out a sequel to it this year, which I'm quite excited to see because I quite like the first one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here, and I'll do this in a couple of videos. And I've got another good couple of DVDs to go, and that's before I move on to my Blu-rays. So I'll do this in a couple of videos. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Let me know down below what are some of the films that reminds you of your childhood. This is just a couple of them. There's more of them to come along, and let's see what do you think they'll be. Let me know down below. What's your favourite film as a kid? Let me know down below, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.